Hi everyone, so today I have chosen to use the grid method for this portrait of Taylor Swift. I hope it helps. So now I'm just marking out my grid. I'm using 1-inch squares. Make sure your grid is the same as your reference picture. I'm using a 2H pencil now, just following the reference box by box. Remember to press gently with the pencil, so if you're to make a mistake, it's easier to erase. Okay, I'm just going to stick it on time lapse now. Remember to keep checking your reference picture while you're drawing to make sure you're on the right lines, because it's easy to get carried away. And I'm not saying this is how you should use a grid or how you should draw, but when I use the grid method, this is how I do it and it just works for me. So now I'm starting to draw the jaw and get the shape of a face. I like to go over lightly and then come back later on and give it more shade. And a lot of artists still use the grid method. I think it's a good way to get your proportions right. drawing the eyes, remember when you're focusing on the dark areas to build them up slowly, so if you make a mistake it's easier to erase. So with this drawing I'm using 2H pencil, a 2B pencil, 4B pencil, 5B pencil, 6B pencil, a 7B pencil, and for the shading I'm using a tortillon, cotton buds, some tissue and a white gel pen for the highlights with a kneaded eraser and the sharp edge of an eraser too, just to get those highlights in the hair later on. So with the neck and the eyes and the lips, I think I was using the side of the pencil lead, a 6B pencil, not the actual point of it. So I was just like getting the shading in. I needed a razor to erase some of the neck so I can blend it in with the tortillon. And with the eyes, I'll go back over them just to make them a bit more darker, like on the reference picture. And with the nose, I use the side of the lead again just to get a rough line, rough image, and then I'll blend it in with the tortillon just to give it a bit of shape instead of actually drawing it with the pencil. The hair was a bit difficult, but I think I'd done my best with what I had. I was using the 7B pencil and I think it was the 5B pencil to try and get those dark areas in. I was using a tortillon and a cotton bud to blend those dark areas to light areas for a good contrast. So you can see now I've gone back to doing the outline for the hands and dress. I thought I'd leave the hair for now because I spent so long on it. I didn't want to mess it up, so I can always go back to it later on. So with the hands again, just keep looking at the reference to make sure you're drawing in the right boxes. I was using a 2H pencil or 2B pencil to get the outline. Then I would use the 6 and 4B pencil to give it the shading it needed in the darkness it needed in the reference picture. And now before I started shading the hands and the chest. Thought I'll erase all those lines so I don't have to do it when I've done the shading. Obviously get them out the way before you start shading. Yeah, so now after I've done the left side of the hair, I'm just moving on to the hands, get the darker shades in, and then use the tortillon to blend it together, give it a bit of detail on the knuckles and the back of the hand. I was using a 7B and a 4B pencil to do that. Still not too happy with how the hair's looking, so I'll go back over that in a bit. Now I'm just going over the other hand with a 2B pencil, just get the outline in. So for the hands again, just picking out the darker areas, and with the ring I just drew it lightly and then went around one side with a darker shade just to make it stand out a bit better. I'd use a kneaded eraser to give it a bit of highlight, and the tortillon to give it the darker shade, blend it in, make it look a bit more realistic. So moving on to the dress now, I was using a 7B pencil, just doing quite a few layers, trying to make it as even as I could, pressing the pencil gently using tissue, tortillon and cotton buds to try and blend it in, make it look smooth. And then for the chest and the neck again, I was using the tortillon and tissue to try and make it an even tone on the body. And as you can see now, I was just picking out the highlights with the white gel pen and a kneaded eraser, trying to get all the highlights in and use a darker pencil to give it a bit of contrast, get all the darker shades in as well as the highlights. And for the eyes and the forehead, I was using a 5 and 6B pencil to get the darkness in, and then use a tissue and tortillon to smooth the shading out. Try and blend it in nicely, give the eyes the darkness that they had on the reference picture. And don't forget, as you keep going, keep checking that reference picture, zoom in if you can, get them fine little details. It'll really make the picture pop out if you get every little detail. So like I said earlier, I like to go over my drawing quite a bit, give it a lot of layers, make all the darker areas as dark as I can, as long as they look good. Yeah, and another tip, when you want to use a bit of shading but you don't want to draw on a picture, just draw on a spare piece of paper, use a cotton bud, piece of tissue or a tortillon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, sorry if I'm not. And just smooth it out with one of them, as you can see in the video now. It saves drawing on the picture so you don't have to erase and end up with a white blob on your picture. You can do it slowly by shading in that way. I wasn't too keen on the two curls on the left side of the head, so I thought they made me drawing look a bit odd, so I thought I'll take them out. But now looking at it, I think I should have left them in. But that's it, it's all learning, finding out different ways to do things. If you're not happy with it, take it out. You can always add it back in. Thanks for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please like and share with your friends. And if you want to see more types of art videos done by me, then hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I'll try and upload videos at least once a week. And well, that's it for today. Bye.